So I'm calling the meeting to order at 8:32, and I'm going to share my screen, and everybody can see that, I suppose. Let's see. Let's start off with the agenda, or I mean with the minutes rather from last time. Um, So here are the minutes from our February 1st meeting. Seems like it was just last week. February goes by pretty fast. I don't know if you all have had a chance to look at these. They've been up there for a while. I probably should put a reminder in the executive committee Mattermost next time. I forgot to do that. But anyway, here they are. They're brief. Uh, if anyone has any suggestions for improvement, speak now. If not, I would entertain a motion to accept the minutes.
Motion to accept the minutes as presented.
And a second.
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 All right, that was David you and David B beat Amanda by a microsecond there to get the second in. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any,
Aye.
any opposed? All right, the minutes are approved 4-0. Now let's move to the agenda. And it's time for the chair report. Okay, there's no action of note in the North Carolina General Assembly. Um, Candidate update in the last month, we filed the so-called first quarter reports. They actually only go through the 14th of February, and they're due on the 24th, I think it was, of February last week, last Tuesday, actually. Because of the early March primary, the plan is to get, one final report in before the primary. And I guess they make a Herculean effort to get everything posted. Of course, most people probably voted by then anyway, but whatever. They were all filed on time. And in addition to that, John has filed the first quarter report for the Wake County Libertarian Party, and his report was posted on Mattermost. If you haven't seen it, it's pretty brief. Let's see if I have that handy. Yeah, here his report, 5,300 bucks in our Truist and PayPal accounts, and we did lose three monthly pledges in January. D. Watson, who's retired from politics, Michael Nelson, who moved to Alamance County, and Stephen Grubb, whose card expired. So hopefully he'll be updating that and we'll get that one back. And so basically that's Sean's report. We will be beginning to see some of the money going out to candidate effect probably this month. I'm hoping that we have a new photographer, and I'm hoping we'll get that scheduled and taken care of in the first half of the month, so that we can get our websites up. We need, candidate pictures for the new candidates for that. And there'll be some other expenditures. We have ordered name tags for the candidates, for example. Um, so that should start flowing out. Hopefully, we can match that with money coming in. Um, any questions or comments on the treasurer report? All right, moving
Not
right
on the
along.
tre
Future
not
events.
on the treasure report, but the candidates after the primaries. Can we, for the next meeting, just have a spreadsheet or something that breaks down who's running now and what races, like identify if we have both a Republican and Democrat? Because in
Yes,
my
as soon as
brain,
the results are in,
yeah.
and hopefully there won't be any runoffs. I don't think if there are runoffs, I don't expect they'll be in Wake County.
So like when you
Um,
say that there were seven people, is that just NCGA? Or are you
correct.
counting, you're not counting Matt then in that
That's right. That's
character?
seven
Okay.
of our candidates. I consider the federal candidates to be state party candidates. Our
Yeah,
candidates
fair
are
enough. that's fine. I
No,
just
I
with that
no,
in mind,
it's a good
I don't
question.
have all seven even in my head, and it'd be
No
nice to have
worries.
something that says
It
these are the
hopefully
seven, these are who they're running against.
it hopefully will be eight after the June filing when Dryan Lewis joins the candidate that actually has a chance to win for us this year joins the
Yeah, I
pack.
think it. Yeah, I just think that'll make it effort, easier to look at that list
Sure,
and identify what one or two maybe are worth an investment of extra time and effort, so to
right.
speak,
The
because
guys
they
that
may
are
be
running
possibly
in 1v1s or whatever.
and they are going to put in the effort, right? So it's always that combination of
Correct.
candidate willing to try and also the race looks more interesting for one reason or another. So if we just get that on the agenda for April, that'd be great.
Sure, that sounds like a good plan. By the way, have you voted yet in the
I
primary?
did vote.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I noticed we have a. I'm going to wait for election day because we have a new vote. Well, I have to now. Voting, early voting's over, but we have a new and closer voting site on election day. The precinct site has changed. All right. Um, so on to future events. Of course, the big event is at the end of March. We have the LPNC convention. Um, I see that I failed to put on here. Well, that's because we hadn't quite decided on the date. Per David Ulmer's suggestion, I'm going to check with our well, he's not really the presenter, our facilitator for the very first topical meetup, which we're planning to do either on the 18th or the 25th of March on the subject of Social Security, per the discussion that went on in Mattermost, which is going to be led by Matthew Lazax, who's a perfect person to run this conversation in that A, he's actually running for a federal office, namely District 2, which is entirely in Wake County of the U.S. Congress. And on top of that, he actually has information about that in his platform. So basically, that's one of his planks in his platform, what to do about Social Security. So he's a perfect guy to lead this conversation. And so we'll have that figured out in the next day or so and posted on social media and begin promoting it. So that actually will happen before the convention. Then there's the convention in the last weekend in March. I know David's going because he's going to be presenting, and I'm planning to go, assuming that I'm not, I'm in the middle of closing on a house that particular weekend. Um, and I don't know about Amanda. I presume is probably not going to go because of logistical reasons. David, do you know if you're going or not? David B.
What day in March is it?
It is the last weekend in March. There is a big social event on Friday. They're doing a live podcast of Are You Smarter Than a Politician? And there'll be lots of opportunities for imbibing and hobnobbing on Friday night.
Oh,
And then
are you talking about the convention?
the convention, yeah, that's
Oh no,
Friday, the
yeah,
27th of March. Then the 28th of March is the business session. And the 29th, I think there's some speakers on the 29th, and there's speakers on the 28th as well.
yeah. I probably would not go to that.
Okay,
Um,
cool.
yeah.
Um, and then we have the second helping of our libertarian brunch, Sunday brunch, at a really, really good Indian restaurant that has an amazing buffet on Sunday, the 12th of April. And speaking of Ed George and his sage investing advice, he will be presenting his presentation on smart investing on the 22nd of April. That's of course a Wednesday. So that's what we've got scheduled.
And you've got
Uh,
that confirmed with Tobacco Road?
we do,
Fantastic.
and we're going to be downstairs.
Fantastic
Um,
again.
right. So, any questions on future events? All right, moving right along. New business.
The themed, oh, themed, oh, that's free. Sorry, that's new business. Never mind.
No worries. We're, you can raise any topic anytime. I mean, it's not that formal. But we do try to stick to the agenda. At least I try to stick to the agenda, but it doesn't mean everybody has to. New business. WakeLP candidate interviews. So we're going to be dedicating the monthly chair, video to a series of interviews with candidates, and the first one is going to be Shannon Bray, with whom I hoped to have talked to this weekend. It didn't work out. We're going to do it tomorrow, and then hopefully I'll be able to get that out. If not tomorrow night, then Tuesday night or Tuesday morning. So, and then I will go through all of the other, guys that are running for office. I got to find somebody to interview me. I'll probably be the last one. I don't want to interview myself. That old cliche about any lawyer who represents himself as a fool for a client. I think that kind of applies to interviews too. Maybe I can convince Ken to step in as a sub, or one of you Davids can do it. We'll see. We've got plenty of time for that. Um, so conceptually, we've been putting out a chair video every month. So for the next 7 months or so, there will be interviews with one of the candidates that are running in Wake County. And uh, David B, maybe you can fill us in on what ended up happening with the Wake County City Council vacancy.
Wake Forest.
I'm sorry, the
Yeah,
Wake
so
Forest City Council vacancy.
yeah, so they ended up just basically, doing like that token selection process and just pick the guy that was in there previously. Um, Kind of figured that would happen, but yeah, that's what they ended up doing.
So the guy that was in there previously in this particular case happens to be
Nick Sawinski.
who, it so happens, is one of the two candidates that we recommended folks take a look at in Wake Forest. Wake Forest was the only municipality that had two recommendations. The other was for the mayor, who was running against well, I don't know, a 40-year incumbent, something like that. She's been there forever, and he won. So now we in Wake Forest. We actually have two of the people we recommended, both in power. Of course, one of them didn't actually win election, but there's a silver lining to the cloud. The downside is that it looked like the fix was in with Slewinski, as David has intimated. As far as we know, they didn't interview anybody else, right?
No, well, so what they did is they basically, because I applied for it, and then they picked the people that they picked were people that I guess were people that I guess like it was people that I don't know any of them that applied. But from my understanding, it was like a few people that like the girl that we interviewed that ran before her, she was one of them. And then it was a lot of people that didn't have any like I think that some of them like showed up to the meetings and stuff that were kind of active, at least showing up to the meetings, but it was mainly all Democrats essentially, and it was all like newer people to politics, and it was all Democrats. Is how they did,
Except
except
Slewinski,
for Nick.
who is actually a Republican, but
Yeah, except for him, and then they picked.
he's kind of a defrocked Republican because he was not endorsed by the GOP when he ran for re-election this time, which is probably why he, didn't even come
Yeah,
close to winning.
he's basically a Democrat in my book. I mean,
Oh, Rhino, right?
he has an R, but yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. All right. And then the theme meetups, I think we talked about this. I don't know if we need to talk about it much more as to conceptually what we're doing. We talked about it at some length last month. But I have David Yu down here because he's the guy that came up with the idea. But I guess I can just summarize the plan going forward, which is this newsletter, which will be accompanying the interview with Shannon Bray, is going to include a survey with all of the suggestions that have come up for doing themes, probably including the Social Security one, just to see how it fares. And then we'll ask, our readers to rate what they think they're most interested in. So we'll see how that goes. I think it would be cool to have a kind of interactive aspect to the newsletter anyway. So this is a good opportunity to see, how many people are actually reading it to the point where they would notice that there's something they can respond to, besides a button to donate. So that's the plan with respect to the theme meetups, and then we'll just go ahead and try to do, one a month or one every 6 weeks or so, however it fits into our schedule. And of course, seeing how they go, we'll see how many people show up. We do plan to promote these. That is to say, we'll invite folks, proactively invite folks uh, that follow our Facebook page and send out an announcement on meetup.com and probably spend some money promoting the thing on Facebook as well. And we also can now promote things on Twitter. We become a checkmarked, our WakeLP account is now checkmarked, and we're paying, I don't know, $10 a month or something like that. Um, so
I'll just point out you have one coming on 15 April, or that's a Wednesday. So if you anything tax themed on that day would seem fun to go with. But
true. Um, okay. Any other new business that's either comments on what's here or things that I didn't list?
other than what I already brought up about candidates in a conversation in April after the primaries.
Right. Sounds good. Um, okay, on to old business. IRV needs assessment project. Well, this kind of took a back seat in January, in February rather, as I was still in, financial uh, reporting hell. But I have picked it up, and I did attend yesterday. I attended an all Saturday, well, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. meeting in Greensboro of it was an executive strategic planning session for a Better Ballot North Carolina. And essentially represented the kind of the focus on ranked choice voting as opposed to other voting reforms and the uh, nomenclature of attempting to use the traditional North Carolina nomenclature, namely instant runoff voting as opposed to ranked choice voting, because that's more or less of a red flag to Republicans. Um, and they seem to have their act together pretty well oiled machine there for BB&C. They've got a good cadre of people. I'd say I think it was 18 people that showed up at the meeting, including myself and Madge, who's become interested in promoting ranked choice voting also. And if any of you guys are interested in that particular issue, they're a really good group to be involved with. So I do recommend them if you're interested. So anyway, I'm back starting tomorrow, back to contacting elected officials in Wake County to see if I can persuade them to sign on. One thing that BBNC did, which really tickled my fancy, which you won't surprise you when you hear what it is, they did a candidate survey, and they sent out a link to uh, all the candidates running in primary elections in North Carolina on a statewide basis, and also those few counties where there were people running either on a county or municipal basis, which most of those are in odd numbered years, but there are a number of counties that do county elections in even numbered years. And it was a four-question survey on, of course, ranked choice voting. And they got not only yes, no answers, but they got some essay answers, which several were from people in Wake County, which was kind of interesting. And I will post a link for those who want to dive in any more detail to see that. Um, it's going to be handy for me because some of the people were um, the county commissioner folks. Of course, they weren't just people in office. They were people that were running for office. And I'm not interested in people running for office at this point. I'm interested in incumbents. But anyway, it definitely gave us an idea of who was in favor and who wasn't happy about ranked choice voting. And there were several Republicans who answered the survey and were not negative, which was good. Although the one person from Henderson County who answered was a Republican. I think he's a challenger, not a incumbent. And he was very negative. So that was sad to see because, of course, Henderson County is the other county besides Wake where we actually had ranked choice voting for a few years, back in 2007 through 2010. Um, so anyway, that was a positive experience, and I'm now energized to get back and keep recruiting people to sign on to the needs assessment. The needs assessment, just to remind folks, a document. It's like a 2 or 3 page document that was written by Lenny Friedman that is asking the North Carolina State Board of Elections to do a study to assess what it would take to implement ranked choice voting in a county, namely Wake. Um, so and we're recruiting Wake people to get behind it and sign on and sign on to this letter that would request this study to be made.
The
Um,
Henderson person say that was negative.
he basically said it wasn't much. It was every answer started out with a capital N, capital O, and I'm paraphrasing now, but one of the questions was, how important is it to you to have a winning candidate elected by a majority? And he basically said, no, it should just be the person that gets the most votes. So it was pretty terse, but the hostility was, definitely palpable.
Wait, how is, oh, I mean, but even in ranked choice, it's still the person with the,
No, in
well,
ranked choice voting, if there's a one seat election, the winner must have a majority to win. Donald Trump ran for president 3 times in North Carolina, right? In 2 of those elections, a majority voted against him, but he won anyway because we have a plurality system. It's the person with the most votes who wins. That would not happen in ranked choice voting. In ranked choice voting, if no one got a 50% plus one, then whoever finished last, there'd have to be more than, 2 people winning
oh,
for that to happen, right?
see,
Whoever
I thought
finished
you meant majority was larger than that. Majority is 50, more than 50.
50% plus one, that's correct.
That's what I thought we had in this past election too.
Nope, we have a plurality system. In fact, for these primaries that are coming up, you only need to win by 30% plus one to avoid a runoff. And so you can have an election where 69% of the people vote against somebody and that person wins the election.
Oh,
And
I guess I wasn't thinking of the primary. I was thinking of the end. I guess it's more ranked choice is more important for the primary.
I don't know. I mean, we had 6 candidates running for president last time in North Carolina. As it happened, Trump did win a majority this time, but oh no, he didn't. Did he? I forget which election he won the majority in. I think it was this one that he did finally win a majority. But I think, I wouldn't say that it's more important for one or the other. There is a proposal that's very interesting. It's actually a bill that has been introduced in the House to allow political parties the option of electing to use ranked choice voting in their own primary, which would, potentially save money and also, again, ensures that they get a majority um, for the winner. So that probably has a possible a possible path forward. Um, Although I think that our proposal of doing county and municipal elections is more likely, or allowing county and municipal elections is more likely to not to be, objected to by too many Republicans. Anyway, we'll see. Um, where am I here? Only on point one of my old business. Any other questions on IRV needs assessment? Okay, moving along to fundraising. Again, this took a back seat, and we'll be paying more attention to it going forward. Expecting to devote at least a couple of evenings a week to making phone calls to folks that have donated to the state or the national party, but have not signed on for WakeLP, who live in Wake County, as my first target.
But right now, I mean, even if we spend as much as $500 per candidate, which it doesn't look like we should have to, we have plenty of money on hand, right?
Yeah,
We have well
we
over
do.
5,000. So 7 times 500, 3,500. We could easily get all of them out of the gate. And I know a couple of them at least will pay for their own way. So we should be able to not only pay for all of them for the basics, but if 2 of them get fired up and motivated, they should be able even to get some extra if they're truly going to do the work.
It would be nice if we had some money that we could spend on Brian Lewis's campaign if it looks like that's worth doing.
Yeah, no, then that would be eight. So same number, 4,000. Yep. And
Well,
then
right, but
so
I'm saying
if
some
but
actual money on Brian's campaign. I think that
yeah, I think you'll find it easier to get that money if, he's out there doing the work, right? I know he
correct.
had some
I'm saying if
challenges
it's
last time
appropriate.
health wise during.
I'm just
Yeah,
saying
so
I'd like to have
no,
the ability to do it if appropriate. That's all. So I'm definitely incentivized to increase that $5,000 if I can. All right. Business meeting recordings posted on YouTube. I think that most of them are up there. I was hoping Maria could fill us in, but she's not here, so miss, I think that's as much as I can say about that. Does anyone have anything else that we haven't discussed that we should?
One thing, there is a march on Washington for the glyphosate executive order happening April 27th. And I was just wondering if anyone knows of anything happening locally. Do you know about the executive order for glyphosate?
Right.
I
Yeah.
do.
I do not know. However, I'm in a position to find out pretty easily because the both the Forward Party and BBNC are on the lookout for events like that because they are interested in doing petitioning, to get people to sign the Forward Party wants signatures so they can get on the ballot, and BB&C wants folks to sign up to get information about ranked choice voting. So typically, when ever anything like that comes up, they put out notes and try to recruit people. So I will pay attention to that, and if I see something for the 27th, um,
It would just be so much easier. I don't want to travel to Washington, but I'm kind of on the fence about it, but I would much rather just go to downtown Raleigh and join a protest and I don't know.
yeah, no, that makes sense. Me too.
You know?
Right. Yeah. I mean, especially if there is one in Raleigh, it's kind of like the incentive of taking a long trip there and then having to take a trip back, right? When you can do the same thing locally. It's
Yeah,
kind of
so
like a no-brainer. So,
It's
okay.
the same day the Supreme Court is hearing the case for the immunity for glyphosate, Bayer Monsanto.
do we
So
know what
that's
date that is?
The
April
27th,
27th.
27th of April.
Yeah, but the executive order just sort of came out of nowhere and just threw a bomb in Maha, and Maha is like on fire right now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I
So
would write that one down, Brad, and certainly not confuse it with IRV. It just that
Right.
one would be worthy of its own separate email to people that are interested, or you can include it in an April newsletter once you have the when, the where, and what have you if it's happening. But even like a week before, probably like, hey, here's this other thing going on or whatever. Or, you send it on April 20th again, just reminding people about Ed George's event, but make that second and mention this event. So
Right. Well, the other thing is to figure out who's sponsoring it, and potentially we might even be able to get somebody to speak. So, but
yeah,
anyway, I will research that.
thank you.
Cool. Anything else?
you get Amanda to speak.
Absolutely.
Oh my God. I don't feel qualified. I know as much about it as I ever knew, but I don't know feel qualified about it. I would much rather get someone like Alexandra Munoz or I don't know where she lives, but a toxicologist.
Right.
Take
Eh, eh, eh. Sometimes people who
Possibly,
are very knowledgeable aren't always the best presenters.
yeah, it's possible that our former at-large member, Ms. Lazax, might be someone who could address that.
Or
Um,
Brian Lewis.
or Brian
You can get
Lewis,
him to
yeah.
keep his, if you can get him to keep his speech at a reasonable time frame.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I think they
We
yanked
we
you
have a
off.
habit, yeah, we have a habit of sometimes being a little long, but if you could get somebody up there who, I mean, he is articulate, so if you can get somebody up there and get them to practice their 3 to 4 minute pitch,
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
it,
Right.
he did, you talking about opportunities for him to, be seen, be heard, what have you.
Yep.
That's
Yep. And he's not a
he
candidate
does
yet,
speak in
so
public. He does
technically.
speak in public. He's not a candidate yet, so he has that cover. He speaks well. If you can corral him into a certain time frame, that's just my opinion, but it's like all libertarians once they get going. But Brian Lewis might be a good one for that if Amanda's not interested.
Is what day of the week is the 27th? It's not a Saturday, is it?
Let me look it up.
April 27th is a Monday.
Monday, that would work. Yeah, he can't do Saturdays, but Monday would work. Cool. All right. Yeah, good idea. I will investigate. Anything
Well,
else?
Supreme Court doesn't hear anything on a Saturday usually, so.
Oh, good point. Yeah, it has to be a weekday. You're absolutely right. Anything else? Anybody else? Going once? Going twice?
Move to adjourn.
We need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye, aye,
Aye.
aye.
Excellent. All right. That came in right at 30 minutes. Well, you guys have a great rest of your weekend, what's left of it, the 3 hours that are left of it. And look forward to convening again in a month from now.
All right. Thank
So
you.
long. Bye
You
now.
have a good night.